Hi readers. Today we are going to start reading off by playing one of my favorite games from when I was a child, which is memory. So we're going to play a little bit differently. So I'm going to show you a paper with some objects on it, and I'm going to give you just 5 minutes to study it and then see how many things you are able to remember and recall. All right, friends, let's try it. It's going to go fast, so get ready. One, two, three, four, five. All right, so go ahead and count across your fingers and list how many things you could remember that were on that paper. So here's an important thing that I've learned in the past that can kind of help us to remember things. Instead of just memorizing things, if we can categorize things into groups, that can actually help us to remember more items. So I'm going to allow you to look at the list again, and instead of memorizing as many objects as you can, instead I want you to categorize them and put them in groups. So perhaps you might think about things that you need in the kitchen and things that you might need in the office. So I'm going to let you try this again. You're going to have 5 minutes to study it, but categorize things this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, go ahead and count across your fingers how many items you were able to recall that time since you categorized them. I have a feeling if you're anything like myself, then you were able to name more items when you did it the second time and you put the items in categories versus just trying to remember all of that information, all of those objects in one view. So readers, my question for you is this: what does this have to do with reading? I want you to think about that for a moment. And when you have an idea, I want you to raise your virtual hand. All right, readers, great job sharing your ideas. I want you to go ahead and put your virtual hands down. So I heard a couple people mention that if you want to remember things in a nonfiction text or in a text, you really have to think, well, what are the different categories and what is this text talking about? That is exactly right. So today I want to remind you that nonfiction readers, we have to learn how to organize all this information in a nonfiction text into categories. Sometimes the text is going to have a pop-out sentence that's going to help us to see the big ideas, the main ideas, and the details. And sometimes, readers, you're going to need to think and you're going to have to figure out how the information is organized. So you already learned a strategy that we did yesterday, which is after you read a chunk of text, you kind of have to stop and you have to think about what are the main ideas and the details in order to kind of tell brief summaries in your mind in order to think about and recall all the important information. And then we also created boxes and bullets. That's one of the strategies that we use to kind of represent that information. So today, friends, I want you to think about how can you take all of the details from text and how can you kind of put them into categories. So you already know that when you preview a text, you use your prior knowledge and you use the text features to kind of anticipate what a story or what a nonfiction text is going to be about. And you know that you can use the headings and you can use the subheadings and kind of to anticipate different categories of information. But today I want to point out that sometimes when you're trying to find the main ideas or the main categories of a text, sometimes you really need to rely on a pop-out sentence. We have pop-out sentences when we're teaching our mini lessons, right? You probably hear your teachers and I say a lot, I want to teach you this. That's a pop-out sentence. That's telling us that this is really important and it's really big. And so we're going to do the same work today as we read our nonfiction text, looking for the pop-out sentence. So we're going to be reading a new text today that is called The Weird and Wonderful Octopus. And as we're reading this today, just at a first glance, you probably notice that there are no subheadings. There are no headings. We have a title up here, but unlike some of the other texts that we've been reading, like this text, where we have a title, but then we actually have headings, this nonfiction text, this nonfiction article does not have that. So we're really going to have to read this today, and as we're reading it, we're going to need to think about what sentences pop out at us in order to kind of help us figure out what is the main idea so that we can start to create our boxes and bullets like we learned about yesterday. So friends, I want you to follow along as I read. And if you feel like you hear a pop-out sentence, I want you to give me the pop-out symbol. Gesture the symbol to me on the screen. Follow along as I read. Of all the strange and wonderful creatures that live in the ocean, one stands out above the rest. It is the amazing octopus. There are over 300 different types of octopus, and they can be found in every ocean around the world. The octopus has a body unlike any other animal. Its body, called the mantle, is soft and shaped like a bag. The octopus can squeeze itself into very small spaces because it has no bones in its body. Its 8 rubbery arms are attached to its head near its mouth. The octopus's arms are covered with suckers. These suckers help the octopus grab and taste things. The octopus can see far distances, but it cannot hear anything at all. The octopus's body is amazing on the inside, too. Along with its stomach and other organs, the octopus has 3 hearts. 2 of its hearts send blood, which is light blue, to its organs for breathing, called gills, on 2 of its arms. The 3rd heart sends blood to the rest of its body. When the octopus breathes in, water comes through its gills and fills its body. When the octopus breathes out, the water comes out of a tube called the siphon. The amazing octopus has many ways to defend itself from predators. When an octopus wants to move quickly to escape a predator, it can shoot water out of its siphon and push itself backwards. This is called jet propulsion. Using this technique, octopuses can travel many miles. An octopus can also protect itself by squirting ink at a predator, causing it to become blind and lose its sense of smell temporarily. All right, I want you to see if you heard any pop-out sentences. I know as I was reading, I saw some of you giving me the pop-out gesture, which told me that you were listening really carefully to a sentence that popped out as a category. So let's go back and let's focus on our second paragraph. Let's reread this. What sentence really pops out that can help us to make a box and bullets? The octopus has a body unlike any other animal. I don't know about you, but when I read that really pops out to me, and it kind of sounds like a heading. It kind of tells me that this entire section is going to be about an octopus's body being unlike any other animal. That's going to become our box. So, let's go ahead and draw a box. And we can put a body of an octopus. Okay. And now we're going to read and see if we can get some bullets, some supporting details to support this. So what makes their body so unique? Okay, so they have a soft body that's shaped like a bag. They can squeeze themselves into small spaces. It goes on to tell us that their arms are covered with suckers. So we can do the same thing with our second paragraphs too. So if we look at the second paragraph, go ahead and reread it and see if you can figure out what is the pop-out sentence. What is the sentence that pops out as a main idea, and what would be the details? And then we can also do the last thing with our last paragraph. So I want you to take a second, find the pop-out sentence, find those details, and be ready to share. Once you have an idea, go ahead and raise your virtual hand. Thanks, friend, for sharing. You helped us to see that each of our paragraph had some pop-out sentences and had details that we could support that would help us to make some box and bullets. So friends, as you're reading today, I want you to pay attention to those subheadings because they can help you to figure out what your main ideas could be. But remember, a lot of nonfiction texts might not have subheadings. So if that's the case, then I want you to look really closely to see if you can't find a pop-out sentence to help you create your box and bullets today. You're going to continue to read your nonfiction books today, and as you're reading, I want you to, in your reader's notebook, kind of keep track of your box and bullets. And so I have some samples here of some student work in which they've read, found the category, the main idea, and then bulleted some details. Or perhaps you're going to be able to get multiple box and bullets done today, where you're going to box and bullet the main idea and details, and then you're going to keep reading, and you're going to chunk more text and box and bullet more details. All right, nonfiction readers, you have a new strategy to use looking for those pop-out sentences. I can't wait to see how you categorize the new information that you're going to learn today, and off you go.